Hello, geometry students, and welcome to the introduction to the end of year project. So, there's a lot to talk about. It's a very exciting project. I guess I'll start with the premise. I've been around ASIJ a long time, and there's been talk over the last few years about how the campus is going to be redesigned. And it's going to be your job as a class, so your whole class will work together to redesign most of the most of the campus. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. You can see the SketchUp I've made. We have the front of the school over here with the tennis courts, right? And we have the parking where the buses are down in there, and the theater right in here. So this is my theater and the turnabout. All of that's going to stay. Those are fairly new buildings, so we're going to keep all those. And you can see the middle school is here. We're going to keep that. Tried to make my own little middle school where the kiosk is in there, and then the cafeteria, and the new design building, the CAD building, is right there. Right, so this is my SketchUp I made myself, but you're going to use this as a template to start. So those buildings that are on this template right now are going to be there. They're going to not be demolished. They're going to still be there. We are not going to redesign those. But there's parts of the campus, the rest of it, that is empty, and it's for you to fill in as a class. Now, I've already assigned you groups and everything like that, but we'll get into that in a second. But the premise is that what the school would like to actually do is to build over here in this area where the backfield is right now, is to build a brand new high school. So they're going to keep the high school where it is for the moment, build a brand new high school over here, so that backfield won't be available for a little while, maybe a year or two. And then they're going to build a high school right here. Now, once that high school is built, they can move all the students and classes over to the new building, and then the high school we have now, which is over here, will be demolished. So we can get rid of that. And then so that area will open up and be gone. So the idea is to then build in this area right in here. Let me spin this around for you. This area right in here is to build a brand new elementary school. So the elementary, which is back here now, back in here, the donut goes right in here, right? So where the donut used to be is going to be demolished, and we're going to build an elementary over here. The area that used to be the elementary will all be open now. So there's a gym back here and a building that has like third grade classes in it. We have the playground is here, and we also have the donut, which is here. So all of that will be gone, and that needs to get shifted over here though, which, look at this huge area that used to be for the elementary is now going to be crammed in over here somewhere. So that's going to be a problem. All this area could be used for the elementary right in here. So that needs to be figured out. That's your problem. That's your task, right? But the thing is, the field, which kind of goes up to here now, well, there's the gym and the pool here, right? But the field comes up into here somewhere, right? So that can be squashed and turned sideways. So now this becomes a big field area going vertically right now. And then that opens up some of the area that used to be used for the field before. But remember, the middle school field, the backfield, is gone now. So that needs to be moved over here as well. And more field space for that loss needs to be gained over here. The gym and the pool are going to be redesigned right where they are. So the plan for the school, from what I hear, this is all rumor, of course, is that the gym and pool, so after they move the high school, after they move the elementary, then they're going to demolish the gym and the pool and redo that whole area over there. Now, so then, the school would be without a gym and without a pool for a couple of years probably. It'll take them a while to redo all that. But that's something we can live without for a year or two, a gym and a pool. It'll be not so fun, but you can't live without a high school. You can't live without an elementary school. But you can live without a gym and a pool for a little while. So that's the plan. And so everybody has their kind of groups. So let me go here. So there is a link, and if you go to the plan or the distance learning plan, or I'll put it in Edsby as well, but there should be a link that will take you to the end of your folder. So it'll take you to here. So that template I just showed you is going to be in your individual project. So if you go to the end of your project for Waka, go in there and you can see this SketchUp that I just was showing you. That is right there, that template. And then we have your class. So look for your class. Let's say you're block 3. So you go into there and you'll be able to find your name and your group. So these are the groups and people that you're going to be working with. So Ali, Tomoki, Kai, and Emil, you are all doing the pool. You're working on the new pool and so forth, right? So all these, this is the elementary group. This is the high school group. So the elementary group's making a brand new elementary as well as playground. The high school group, you're going to have to worry about all the classrooms and the new library and all those kind of things for the high school. And then we have a kind of a miscellaneous group. They're going to do a new book locker room. They have to worry about the courtyard. They have to worry about where the maintenance staff goes in the maintenance building. They have to make sure the water tower stays right where it is. They have to make sure that the electrical grid is taken care of. And also they want to think about the entry to the school. Like, do we need a parent room or places for visitors to come to? And what's the front of the school look like? So that's all their task. Then we have a gym group. You're going to build a new gym with plenty of space for practice as well as games and things like that. And with their own separate changing rooms from the pool. And we'll get into the details, but we've got a gym group, and then we also have a field group, and we're going to explore the idea of putting in a track, like an actual race, running track, as well as taking care of the main field and the back field and getting that all that space with storage and everything else taken care of. So those are your groups. So you come in, find your name, go into your group. Let's say you're these guys. And by the way, groups were randomized for me. I don't know what the other teachers, Kodama and Fisico, are going to do, but I randomized you guys. So you can see I randomized it here. Anyway, so you go into your group, and the first step is just to brainstorm and come up with ideas of what's going to be good for your project, like what's going to make the new design better. So you'll see I listed out things. Yeah, you want to brainstorm, but when you brainstorm, you want to kind of be focused a little bit. You want to have empathy for your user. So what does that mean? Well, I put a couple suggestions for the pool group down here. So let's say you're the pool group. What does empathy for the user mean? Well, right now, if you've ever been to a pool meet, it's really crowded in there. They have like 6-8 teams in there, and spectators as well as all the athletes. Everybody's crammed into the pool area all at once, and it's really hot and muggy in there. It's really difficult to watch a pool meet. So how can you solve that problem for them? If you were to just build a pool and throw everything back in there, you might have the same problem because you hadn't thought about empathy for the user, thinking about the people who use that space, not only the athletes, but the coaches and the spectators and anybody else who uses that space for PE classes, the elementary kids. Think about who's using that space and what do they need. That's called empathy for the user. So you can see that down here. I put a little example for you, right? So how are you going to fix that problem? How can you be innovative in your new design to fix that problem? We also have, so think about you might want to take a look at the pool later when you get back to school, but for now, just think about the pool and what's good about the pool. What do we want to keep? And then think about what's not good about the pool that you want to change or that you need to include in your new design. And that's what you're doing here. You're just going to, you as a group, all your group members should chime in here and put ideas down. You're just, anything goes right now. The only thing that's being graded is that you participate. So you just need to get in there and throw some ideas around. Just whether it's good or bad idea doesn't matter right now. It's just brainstorming and thinking, listing out good stuff and bad stuff that you need to take care of. So make sure you see here I put my name after my little comment. Maybe you're going to want to do the same thing so that when I check it, I know everybody's been participating. If it's the same person listing all the stuff and you're not participating, that will hurt your grade a little bit. You need to participate in this with all your group members and be a good group member, to not only your group, but also to the class. You have to realize that this is all these groups for this class, all your designs have to come back together. And it's going to end up making one final class design. So all this space needs to get filled in, and your design 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 all has to fit together in this space, and it has to fit together well. They can't overlap. You can't have gaps. Doors need to match up with other doors, and everything just needs to flow really well. From the front of the campus to the back of the campus to the side of the campus, we should have a nice flow with walkways and sitting areas and outdoor studying and eating areas, as well as all the indoor stuff for your design. And think about your designs as well. If we have a whole bunch of big rectangular blocks placed down, like I did this really quickly just because I was trying to save time, but I just put this block down. This is where this is where the drive way comes through from the front of the school, like under the tennis courts. And also this is the wrestling room, and then this is where the AD office is, and this is where ICU is right now. So I just, like, this is where the weightlift, on the second floor, this is where the weightlifting room is, right? Where you can overlook the tennis courts. But just look at this building right here. It's just one big rectangular block. If you do something like that, the best grade you're going to get is probably a B, maybe a D at the most. You are definitely not going to get a P or an E for that at all. So we need to have innovative designs. They need to be cool. I mean, even the theater, look at the theater. Yeah, it's kind of rectangular prisms, but they're leveled, and you got a curved front with glass in the front. I did this really quickly as well, so I could have done a lot more of that. The buildings I took time on when I made this, I wanted the CAD building to look cool, so I took some time and I really did the CAD building to make it look like it was. I put texture on it. I beveled the windows just like it has. I put all these little posts, and I colored the doors in, put windows. I even made the air vent kind of grids and stuff, right? So I put some time into that building so it looked a little nicer. Cafeteria isn't too bad either, right? I put a little more detail into that. I put the observatory on the roof, and I did some of that kind of work to it. So you need to have some detail, and you also need to make sure it's cool looking. Like, look at that CAD building, right? Yeah, it's some rectangular blocks, but they're placed in a way to give it some dimension and make it look really cool. So remember, this is geometry class, so we should be using different kinds of prisms. You can use hexagonal prisms and triangular prisms. You can use pyramids and cones and spheres. When we're going through Unit 11 and Unit 12, those two units are about area and volume of different types of shapes. And that's what this project is mostly about, is getting you to use those shapes in your design. Now, of course, it's about design thinking, where you design something, take a look at it, tweak it, fix it, redesign it. Tweak it, fix it, redesign it, where you try to make it better and better as you go along. So that's partly it as well. And also just thinking logically and being innovative. But it all starts with area and volume, and doing a good job of using spheres and cylinders and cones and pyramids and rectangular prisms and all those other shapes to make your design. Now, we shouldn't just be throwing something down. This is the biggest thing. If you're watching this video like you should, hear me right now. The biggest mistake that students make is that they just try to take their area, like let's say you're the high school building. So the high school building is going to be given this area right over here. If you just take your area and you just fill it up with one big rectangular prism, and you don't calculate, you don't actually know how much space you need for different things, and you just say, oh, look, we got a big building, and I'm just going to fill it up with a whole bunch of classrooms and a whole bunch of other stuff, you might end up with, this happens every year. It happens every year, even though I'm telling you right now, listen. Every year, someone will say, oh, look, I have 137 classrooms, when really, if they would have counted the number of classrooms they need, and they would have calculated how many classrooms they need, they might have only needed like 30 or maybe 50 or 70, but they don't need 150 or they don't need 300 classrooms, right? If you do something like that where it's backwards design, where you design the building first and then you fill it up with stuff, that's going backwards. You will get a B or a D on your project or worse, right? It's not good design. That's backwards designing. Forward designing is calculating first. So you're going to have to, in here somewhere, you're going to have to come maybe at the bottom. We'll do this later, but in here or maybe on a separate piece of paper, I'm totally fine either way. You are going to need to show your calculations for how you know what you need. So eventually we're going to be saying, this is how big, like I'll have 2 columns probably. And we'll say one of the columns will be what we have now, and another column will be what you have in your new design. So you need to calculate what you need. Don't just fill up a building with a bunch of stuff hoping it works out. You need to calculate what you need, and then your design should match what you calculated, not the reverse, where you're just filling it up with a bunch of stuff that you don't need. All right, we'll talk more all about it later, but that's getting you going. Your first task is to just wrap your mind around the project and your piece that you were given, and then to start brainstorming here about things we want to keep and things that you would like to improve on. Okay, good luck. Ask questions if you have them, as always.